Okay, hi everybody. Welcome back, and it's been a while since I discussed anything, or it's probably in a few days or something like that. Give me a second. I hate these ads, man. They're annoying. Today we're going over probably the most controversial video I made. Um, I'm gonna make probably. I don't know. If you don't know me by now, I gave myself the name Toy Chica. And I'm Xbox player, but however, the roles I play the most is support. I sometimes play tank, but I barely play DPS, so and you're going to probably guess that I'm likely going to have a lot of more lower than necessary. And then after this, I'm going to rank from like 1 to 5 of who is probably the going to be like it's going to I'm not sure what exactly. Or probably like which one's the most fun and which one's the least fun, which is 1 to 5, and then finally I'm gonna go over like, do I think the heroes need the ones in the higher rank will definitely need a buff, and in the lower rank it definitely needs a nerf. So it's like one of those that like it's like this one needs a major buff, this one needs a minor buff, this one needs to be left alone, this one needs a minor nerf, this one needs a major. So other than that, well, in my opinion, basically, it's it's not everyone's cup of tea, but my opinion is just gonna be like which one, just based on my experience. So, anyways, now let's go over the players, the heroes. Oh boy. Big one to make. Which ones I like playing the most, and which ones I like playing the least, versus the ones I work with better and who I work with worst. You know, like some like the previous round where I talk about tanks and supports. This is the same exact rules. Same exact rules. I can't cheat away my out. I can't lie either. Because you know me by now, I can't be lying, especially consider you guys are part of watching the YouTube channel. And before I go back to acting, I'm gonna like get some video games out of the way and actually like make November a month of just video games mostly to like December 10th, and then I'm gonna focus the rest of the time on acting for a while. So after December 10th, that's when I'm going to be doing, you know, voice acting. Anyways, this is going to be a big list. Consider there's about like about more than 15 DPSs. So 9, 12, 13, okay, about 18. And when will these ads leave me alone? Man, did they love me or something? Are they in love with me? Hopefully not. I'm crazy, man. Anyways, let's just start with like, the rules are exact same as previous. When it comes to who I like playing the most and who I like playing least, there's five tiers. And when it comes to who I like working with, how much I can work with, it's gonna be 4 tiers. So keep that in mind. So let's start with Ash. I barely play her. I used to play her a lot. I even thought I was maining her just like with a hero I'll eventually get to, and Roadhog. Early on, I wasn't fit for Roadhog, consider he's more on skill rather than RNG. And Amos is about 100% tells you that it's RNG. It's like, can you time it rather than skill? So yeah, and unfortunately I found out that she's not one of those at all. I only played her like a couple times. Actually, let's lower her down a bit. I barely knew how to play her, and I only play her if I feel like it. And I barely pop her off, so it's also why I put her down. And keep in mind also, if I'm using a hero for Counterwatch, which is in support video, I don't usually use heroes for Counterwatch, so I'm just being honest. So, and in tanks, there was some I play Counterwatch with, which goes down on point. Consider if you're supposed to be a flexible player with a lot more like relying on yourself, you gotta work on your skill, and Counterwatch is a way to like, my opinion, just escape the responsibility of learning sometimes, despite the fact people are going to say it's common sense. Anyways, next, Bastion. Yeah, I know a lot of you are thinking I'm going to rank this high. Consider I played tanks like Malga, right? Right? Nope. Wrong. You could probably guess Y and D. It's not because I use them for Counterwatch, but if it wasn't for Counterwatch, it would have been C tier. But since it was sometimes, it's in D tier with the lowest I have. I don't usually pop off with him. Despite the fact he ended up being with all girls club, but who knows. Yeah, so unfortunately I cannot connect with some of the characters, so I'll let you know if I can't connect. I cannot connect with this one for sure. I'm not greedy. And even though I do have PTSD, I can't really relate to some extent. Now, Cassidy. Why, well, actually, I'm gonna move some of them up a bit. Because if it's more based on if I can get kill, I'm gonna move them. Well, unfortunately, I'm gonna keep Bastion in D tier, but I'm gonna move these two up. Why I put Cassidy C tier is I barely play him, and I used to play him quite well back in like in unranked, in my unranked days. But for the last like couple of seasons, I wasn't able to pop up the same sneaky style as I used to. So yeah, the last time I got played the game was a while back. And plus, I lost skill due to lowering my aim assist. So yeah, it is really effective. Genji. Let me explain this. I don't play Genji often. Like, often. It's just, I don't really understand his mechanics that well, and I barely can hit a target. And sometimes I was able to pull it off is like if I'm lucky or not. And sometimes I end up getting a blade. But reason why I'm gonna put him above Bastion is for me to get better on Genji, I have to like avoid going with any stereotypes, which is Nano Blade, like the classic thing. And before I can trust a Nano, I have to I have to teach myself how to play Genji properly first, before being given a huge responsibility. You know. Now Hanzo. I had I had days where I can pull him off. There was one season where I was able to pull him off completely, and he was the hero I was able to play. Reason why I didn't put him A tier, it's because, well, I had to learn how to play him from a Hanzo main, which is Arch, if you don't know who that is. Arch is a #1 Hanzo main, basically. So yeah. Yeah, that's why there was a minus point a bit. Junkrat. He's the first S tier I got, basically. It's not just that he's skill-based, but also he helps me a lot of times. You know, there are times I lost, but I was able to pull off a lot of. I was able to carry a team a bunch of times with him, but the most recent season has been pretty tricky, to say the least. Now, Thera. Put her in A tier above Hanzo. It's because I was able to pull her off a little bit more than Hanzo. Not just that, but also I don't use her much. But I also use her for like, if I feel like I playing her, or you know, or it's just to like think of a different pick instead of the pure went with. Okay, Reaper. I'm putting him A tier below Thera. It's because I used to pop off with Reaper for quite some time. But in season 10 is when ever since I went with a hero you'll see eventually, I start to get less and less, and unfortunately, like Sigma, sometimes the buffs are unnecessary. To a certain extent, it's not like it's overpowered, it's just, it makes them a bit easier target. As in, like, you know, like, where a lot of people are going to focus on that character and not leave that player alone, like Swan Camper or something like that. Now, Sojourn, I don't usually play her. I used to play her like a little bit more than I do now. I sometimes pick her if I feel like it. It's been a while since I got played the game on her. I'm not sure when, but I think it was like a couple seasons ago last time I got her. And it's just, she was very difficult for me to understand, despite the fact I think she was really easy to learn. I thought she was, but then when I actually tried to play her later on with, like, I have to be more skill based, that was not easy. Soldier, I would not say he's the best by any means, but I do put him in B tier because there were times I actually carried the team with Soldier, believe it or not. I do play Soldier. I started recently play Soldier a little bit more often. It's just some of the heroes I used to love playing a lot. Unfortunately, it was just not this season, so. And I started to learn how to aim him a little bit more often. It's just gonna take me a lot more time just to like adapt to him, other than just Junkrat. Symmetra. I'm going to put her in A tier above Thera because, well, one, she's probably the most underrated character I've ever seen, in my opinion, in DPS. And if it was just basically strictly on who I think is just the role, I would have added Warrior here, but if it's strictly just what role they are in currently, that's what I'm going with. So it's kind of why you're not seeing Mora on this list, but rather you saw her on the support list. So, and also Syme also was, well, Syme is something I was able to get by for a while. Consider she was probably helps me like learn where my strategies should go. Torb, Torb. I only use him for counter watch often. So yeah, you could probably guess the points are a big yikes. But there were a few times I felt like playing him, even if there was nothing to counter. So yeah, unfortunately he's on the lowest tier for me, who I play with. The more I think of counter watch, it's just more I don't really like it, you know. Now Widowmaker, I would say she is alright. I wouldn't put her above Hanzo, but I wouldn't put her in C tier either. I did also thought I could main her back then until I lowered down my Amos's, and that's when my struggles of Widow really started, basically. But I started to learn how to get more headshots recently. I'm getting better with Widow, it's just, it takes a while. Just like Soldier, it's gonna take me a while. Now Venture, as much as I would love to put them in S tier, I gonna have to put it in A tier. Despite the fact that it's like literally like on my personality. What's the problem then? I sometimes can't roll. Just sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's difficult. It just depends if I am able to like keep up or not. If I'm able to keep up, it's fine, and if not, I would add swap usually. Now Mei, now that I'll put her in S tier because well, she helped me in the beginning of some of the seasons, and it was not just that, I was able to dominate and carry the team with her when I couldn't on some of the heroes. So I start able to pop off with Mei in season 10, and I was able to pop off with her sometimes here and there. I guess it just depends on the week. Not sure. Zambra, I wouldn't say she is completely interesting, but I will put her above Soldier because back when she wasn't that bad, I was able to pull off some kills with her. But then her new ability kind of put me in the downside, consider now I have to learn something all over again. You know what I mean? Tracer, I wouldn't say she's the best to work with either. Not work with. Playing as. But I was able to like get a couple kills and get couple play games. Well, I never used her for any counter watch or anything. It's just some people like to play counter watch, and it ruins a lot of times on some heroes that I'm still learning. Echo, I can't really say much other than just yikes. I usually play her as in like, if I need to play hero, need to fit a role or different hero. Or just, and sometimes I feel like using her. It's like just feeling like playing her. But other than that, I don't really do much with her. That was a long list. Now let's get to who I like working with the most and who I like working with the least. This might be a backlash, but I don't know. Now let's just start with Widowmaker, shall we? I wouldn't say it's perfect. But I had to drink on those, and also there were times it was completely impossible to heal her. But on the tank side, also there were times where Widow wasn't where I can protect her. But I mean, it's never supposed to be in far range, but there are times they have to be close, but they stay over there instead, which is kind of put me in a rough position a bit. So yeah, Sime, I wouldn't say they're perfect, but they're a lot better than some of the heroes that I'm gonna put later on. Um, they're able to pull off some strategies that I wouldn't think of at all. But then there was some that would put them in A tier, which is the ones that failed her miserably. You know what I mean? Yeah. Now, Ventures. I'm Venture main, but I wouldn't say they're S tier either. You probably guess why. It's just most of the Ventures I met actually work well with the team, no matter what role you play, but there were a couple that honestly just I'm not sure what to describe other than how do they not know how to use her? Well, them, sorry. My brain kept thinking it's Whittle, not Venture, you know. Sorry about that. Still learning. Genji's, I'm putting in C tier. Most Genjis I met barely done anything. The only time they were pulling something is just Nano Blade, often. Even though I do sometimes get Nano Blade, but not often because I was able to get five. There was even a few times where I got 5 kills with Blade without Nano. There was even play games where there was such. So yeah, I'm not sure what's up with them. The boys, something like that. Even though they're the most popular male base, people say. But it's kind of disappointing that they can't put the same energy into playing Genji. I'm sorry, but I'm just being honest. And also, they sometimes ask for ridiculous things. Reaper, it depends who you got. If you got the one who is who knows what to do, that's great because they probably know where some of the health packs are. But however, the ones that do annoy me are the ones that either are begging the tanks to like do something when they can't at the time because they had to deal with something else, or when they're asking supports to heal when they're behind the wall. Echoes, below Genji's, like I said, take what I said about Genji's and put it to Echo, except for the fact that Echo is not very popular. But also, she's the ones who made her just. What is up with this? Like, they're really. They're very often trying to go everywhere, and sometimes it's really hard to catch them. Because one moment they're in your eyesight and not behind the wall. Next moment they're behind the wall and out of your sight. They're basically acting like Zambra, but for the ones who made her aren't Zambras. So yeah. Maze, it depends on who as well. But I really hate the ones who throw. Only because they didn't see the hero they want someone to pick. As like for example, they wanted a Bastion, they want a Reaper, or they want a Genji, but instead they got Venture. And instead of a Mercy, we got Juno, and instead of a D.Va, you got Roadhog. Let's say that for example. For some reason, if they see heroes they hate the most, they throw. The ones who do throw, like, that's ridiculous, man. But the ones who don't throw, I'm glad that you don't throw, because it would be terrible. Now, Thera's, I'm putting it in C tier not because the ones I work. It's a little bit sometimes about what they ask sometimes, but unfortunately it's the mains with like probably like I can't really trust sometimes. In fact, I usually am worried that certain people will main her and use her as an excuse or something for something they did horrible, for horrible things they did. So yeah, put in a lower tier for that. Bastions, put in above Theros because at least they're not the same. I mean, they're not doing horrible things. But however, they're probably one of the most toxic mains I've seen. Not like the most toxic. We'll get to one eventually, but it's just their position. I mean, the ones I met usually are either great at killing and great positioning, or very often, or sometimes, actually I'm gonna put in B tier, but, or sometimes they are pretty bad at surviving to where it's just hard to see. I didn't even run into a Bastion who got the most deaths in the team, even though they got like a lot of kills, but most deaths in the team, and it blamed me for not healing enough, despite the fact there was plenty of times I healed. They just kept diving into the wrong heroes, basically. So yeah. Junkrats, I wouldn't say they're perfect. Well, actually, I can put in, well, I can't really put an S tier due to like some of them. It depends on what Junkrat main you run into, or any flexibility players. If they're really good at their job, then what's the problem with that? You know, what's the problem with that? Why can't you just let them be Junkrat? And they're probably the most common heroes that will go like, if you don't get a kill before your first death, you gotta swap, based on what some players would think. Same with Venture and Widow. Sometimes it takes time. Torbs. I don't run to a lot of Torb mains, but I think they're probably not great. And you probably understand a little bit why I mean about that. It's just not much. Ashe, actually I would put in S tier, the ones I work with. Majority of the time they actually know when to use Bob, or at least most of the time they do. And also, most of the time they know what to do. And even though there were a couple that kind of makes them not perfect, but at least they're not like terrible or anything. Tracers, it depends on who as well, but they're not great, but not terrible. It just depends on who plays it. Cassidy, I would. There's just a lot in B tier, you know. It's just meh, I guess. It depends on who plays Cassidy or McCree, whatever you call it. You know what I mean? Like I said about some heroes, depends on who plays it. On Sojourn, I'm A tier, the ones I work with. Most of them do know what to do, and they know when to do stuff. But there were a couple that made exception where it's just, they're not great. But it was unfortunately not good enough to like being over here. So a couple do sometimes take that long. Zombras. Working with Zombras. My opinion, depends on who you work with. Put it right above Tracer. You can probably carry a team with Sombra if you can. In certain situations, but there are just some Sombra mains that blame the team for either not healing or they're not even patient. They're probably the ones that don't have patience. When sometimes they do. They need to do it. Do have patience. And they're probably the only ones that I don't really need to heal much. Because they could just hack health pack and get themselves some healing. Or even help some of the teammates where they don't have to like constantly ask for like, heal me, heal me. But unfortunately, majority of them don't really know that. Soldier. Yeah, it's a different story when it comes to like mains. Majority of them either runs in for no reason and dies, like bleh, and just acts like a tank rather than a DPS. Or there are a couple that are exceptions, but unfortunately it's overshadowed by a majority of the soldier mains where they just kept dying. Hanzo mains, it depends as well. And I don't remember his Hanzo mains much. But there are some good ones, just fortunately there are some bad ones as well, so. Anyways, that's basically the tier of DPS. If you like the ranking, go ahead, let me know. And if there's some that you want, if you not want them, you disagree with, just let me know. Now, I'm gonna make a video on the. Actually, I might do some changes when it comes to the plans, where I rank like who's probably the highest in my opinion to like who's just and then we're gonna rank like who needs buzz big time and who needs nerfs big time. Anyways, see you guys next time.